Hi everyone, welcome to Little Diamond Yoga Stories with me, Megan. Little Diamond Yoga Stories is all about learning the story and doing some yoga as we go along. So copy the moves that I do and try to have some fun. Okay, let's start the way we always start our yoga by crossing our legs, sitting on our bottoms and bringing our hands to our heart. And we're going to start with our yoga hello, namaste. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Now today's story is all about a very important event that happened a very long time ago, called the Great Fire of London. So in today's story we are meeting a dog. So let's go into our dog pose. Onto your hands and knees. And then tuck under your toes and then push your hips up to the sky and bark like a dog. Woof, woof, woof. Woof, woof, woof. And the dog in our story is called Sammy. Now Sammy doesn't have a home. Stand up, take your legs wide, bring your hands to your heart and take them up above your head into our house pose. Sammy lives on the streets. Sammy lives next to a bakery. A bakery is a shop that sells bread and cakes. Come onto your bottoms and open your legs wide. And let's have a go at mixing some cakes. Pick up your wooden spoon and mix, mix, mix. And pop that spoon down. And then pick up your other wooden spoon and mix, mix, mix. Sammy loved looking in the window of the bakery. Come onto your knees. Get out your super spectacle to look through the bakery window. And he loved smelling all the delicious smells that came from inside. Rub your nose. Try and move it from side to side, giving it a wiggle. Sometimes the baker's children would come out and they would tickle Sammy behind his ears. Rub your ears from the bottom to the top and all the way back down again. And he would love it when he lay on his back and they tickled his tummy. Come onto your back. And then can you rub your tummy? Sammy made his bed himself, sitting up with your knees up and your hands either side of your bottom. Push your hips up into your bed pose. Sammy's bed was made of a cardboard box, an old crate, and he had an old ripped blanket in there too. After a busy day of seeing lots of different people, smelling lots of different smells, and seeing the baker's children, Sammy would love to lie down in his bed, coming down onto your side. One morning, Sammy woke up and stretched his body up. Let's go back into our dog pose, onto our hands and knees. Tuck under our toes and push up those hips. He stretched up and then he stretched out, one leg at a time. Lift up one leg and bring it back down. And lift up the other leg and bring it back down. Sammy had woken up because he could smell something strange. Put your hands back onto your nose and give it a wiggle. Sammy wasn't sure if he was dreaming, but once he opened his eyes, there was thick smoke making his eyes sting. Rub your hands together and then pop them over your eyes. Sammy wanted to know what was going on. He ran to find out, standing up and start to run. Sammy could see the bakery, legs wide, hands to your heart and take them above your head. Inside the bakery there were flames, raging, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Lie on your backs. and lift up both of your legs together. And then flicker your toes as that fire starts. And then start to move your legs up and down one at a time as the fire gets bigger and bigger and bigger. From inside the bakery, coming up onto your knees, Sammy could hear children crying. Rub your ears from the bottom to the top and back down again. Suddenly, Sammy saw the baker coming outside with his family. Standing up, we're going to take big steps outside. 1, and the other leg. 2, and the other leg. 3, and the other leg. All. Well done. The baker and his family were coughing lots because of the smoke. Outside it was chaos as more and more houses were on fire. Bring your legs wide, your hands to your heart and take them above your head into that house pose. Sammy was so scared. There were people everywhere running. Sammy ran to get away himself. Run, 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 run. He was looking for somewhere safe to hide. Come onto your knees. Take your head down to the floor and tuck your arms next to your body. But Sammy couldn't get away from people running and all the trampling feet and the people screaming. Suddenly, Sammy heard a loud crack. He looked as he saw the bakery collapse. Standing up, your legs apart and your hands to your heart. Take them above your head and bend over to show the bakery collapsing. Sammy jumped out the way just in time before it landed on him. He continued to run away from the fire, coming back up and running. He felt like he was running for hours and hours and hours. Come down to your knees. Eventually, Sammy found a quiet corner to lay down in. He was so tired. He lay down on his back and he fell into an exhausted sleep. Later that evening, Sammy was woken. Bring your knees to your chest and give them a hug and then roll from side to side. Sammy got up, got to your knees and looked around. Take both your hands onto the side of one leg and look over your shoulder. Then come back to the front and move your hands to your other leg and look over the other shoulder. Sammy could see people running and running and running, carrying all their belongings. He noted the fire was getting bigger and bigger and burning more houses. Onto your backs. Bring your legs up straight and wiggle those toes to start that fire. And then move your feet up and down, bending your legs as the fire gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Sammy also saw, sitting up, lots of people carrying buckets of water. Bring the bottoms of your feet together, sitting on your bottom, and hold your toes. And here we have our bucket. Inside the bucket there was lots of water. People were throwing the water at the houses to try and put out the flames, just like a firefighter does with their hose. Let's try our hose pose. Come onto your bottoms with your knees up. Take one leg out straight and then lift that straight leg up into the air for your hose. Well done, put that leg down, bring it back and then flatten the other leg out straight and lift that one up. Fantastic. Sammy also noticed there were people running with hooks. He watched as, come onto your knees, they were using the hooks to pull down the houses that weren't burning yet, but were in the way of the fire. Take your hands and hook them behind your back, and after 3 we're going to bend forward and pull those houses down, pulling our arms over. 1, 2, 3, pull. And again, 1, 2, 3, pull. One more time. 1, 2, 3, pull. Well done. Sammy got up onto our hands and knees. Tuck under your toes and push your hips up into the air. He got up and started wandering around the city, not really paying attention to where he was going. After a while, Sammy stopped. Come back down onto your knees. He looked over his shoulders. Take both your hands onto one leg and then look over your shoulder. Look back into the front, move your hands across and then look over your other shoulder. Sammy could see that the flames were still getting bigger and bigger and burning more and more houses. He could see from a distance. Let's have a look. Take out your super spectacles. And now let's see those flames getting bigger and bigger, lying on our backs. Taking our legs up straight, wiggling our toes, and then moving our legs as the flames get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Fantastic. Come back to your knees. After lots and lots and lots of walking, Sammy came to a part of the city he had never been before. In front of him, he saw a huge building. Standing up, take your feet slightly apart and then lift your arms up in the air, almost like a castle pose. Sammy went to the door of this big building and opened it. Coming down onto your knees, sitting up. Take one leg out to the side and lift up your opposite arm and let's open the door. Now it's a very old building. It's going to make a very big creak as we open it. Creak. Sammy went inside. He could see some stained glass windows. He could see a big altar. He could see lots and lots and lots of seats. Here, he felt safe. It felt quiet. Until all of a sudden, he heard a bang as the door shut behind him. Sitting back up and take your opposite leg out and lift your opposite arm. And let's bang that door closed. Bang! Sammy felt calm. He felt safe. It felt quiet. He lay down for a rest, lying down onto your sides. The next morning, Sammy woke up and had a big stretch. Roll onto your backs and stretch your feet out underneath you and your arms out above your head. He sat up and went to the door. Sammy tried pushing it open. Hook your fingers together and then push them away. The door wouldn't open. The door was locked. All of a sudden, Sammy could smell the smoke rubbing your nose from side to side. He could hear the flames crackling at the walls. Rub your fingers on your ears from the bottom to the top and all the way back down again. He could see the flames coming closer and closer and closer. Lie onto your backs. Lift up your feet Wriggle those toes and then start that fire burning bigger and bigger and bigger. Sammy was stuck. He tried scratching at the door. Come onto your hands and knees. And then come down onto the front of your arms, the bottom of your arms, and then tuck your toes and lift up your bottom, and then scratch at the floor as he scratches at that door. He's barking loudly. Woof woof! Can you bark like a dog? Suddenly, the door opens. Come onto your bottoms and bring the bottoms of your feet together, bending down and then sitting up as the door opens. At the door is a friendly man. He's smiling and he lets Sammy out. Sammy runs out the door and then looks behind him. Standing up and then turn around, taking your legs wide. Bring your hands to your hips and then turn and face behind you. Go to the back again and then turn and look over your other shoulder. As Sammy is looking, he sees St. Paul's Cathedral burning and burning and burning. Sammy finds somewhere safe to hide. Come onto your knees and take your head down to the floor. Sammy stayed there waiting for the fires to stop burning. Later, Sammy noticed that the winds were slowing down. Coming to standing. Take your legs wide and your arms wide. We're going to spin quite quickly to show that wind that was going really fast, blowing really hard. And then now can you start to slow down those spins? Slow down that wind. With the slower wind, the fire slows down its spreading. For the rest of that day, people are still getting buckets of water. Bring your feet together and then bend forwards. Pick up your bucket of water and stand up. And then we're going to throw it that way with a big step. 1, 2, 3, throw. Come back to the middle. Try not to wobble. And then let's bend down and get another bucket of water. Picking it back up as we stand. I'm going to throw it that way this time. 1, 2, 3, throw. All day as well, people were carrying hooks around and pulling down houses. So standing with your legs apart, hook your fingers behind your back, and after throwing, you're going to bend forward and pull those houses down. 1, 2, 3, pull. And again. 1, 2, 3, pull. One more time. 1, 2, 3, pull. Well done. The fire had started to go out. People were very tired, but they had worked so hard fighting that fire. Sammy found a quiet spot by the river and lay down. Let's lie on our backs. Bringing your feet slightly out and your arms by your sides. Sammy was so tired out. He thought about all the things that had happened. That big fire that had swept through London, starting in Pudding Lane at the bakery, and also burning over St. Paul's Cathedral. Sammy headed back to his street where he lived, heading back to Pudding Lane to try and find where it was he slept. Finally, Sammy found where the bakery used to be, but all that was there now was burning cinders. Sammy Sammy knew that it would never be the same again, but he was glad the fire was a distant memory. Okay, now wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Bring your knees up and give them a hug. And then roll onto your side and push yourself up onto your bottom and cross your legs. Bring your hands to your heart. And we're going to say our yoga goodbye. Namaste. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you for joining us at Little Diamond Yoga Story. See you again soon. Bye.